How much time have we got to buy Bitcoin?
Welcome back to the Bitcoin Edge. Today we are going to see a clip of Ran Nuna, founder of Crypto Banter, interviewing Arther Hayes about his predictions for Bitcoin and his secret to success. Hayes is a former financial executive and entrepreneur, best known for co-founding BitMEX, a cryptocurrency exchange platform that offered leverage trading in the early 2010s. Hayes made his money primarily in the cryptocurrency industry, capitalizing on the growing interest in digital assets and derivatives trading. Hayes was reported as being the youngest African-American crypto billionaire at one point in history. In 2020, Hayes and others associated with BitMEX faced legal challenges from U.S. authorities over alleged violations of anti-money laundering and securities laws, leading to his departure from the company. Hayes pled guilty and was sentenced to 6 months of home detention, 2 years of probation, and a $10 million fine. Hayes now spends most of his time doing the things he loves, like meditation, reading, and research in Singapore and Hong Kong. Let's listen to what Hayes has to say about money printing, Bitcoin, and success.
How badly is China broken? So if I'm reading between the lines here, China is going to stimulate. Japan is going to continue to stimulate as they've been doing. The US is playing a game of chicken now. They can only play the game of chicken until something breaks, when something breaks. Both of them are stimulus tools. One of them is reduce interest rates really, really quickly, back down to close to zero. The other tool is just put more money into the economy. We're basically saying that the only way this ends is with helicopter money.
That's the beginning of it. That starts the fun period. Then we get the hangover later. But yes, the only option that these governments know how to pursue is printing money, because the other option, which is actually enforce some pain on the populace, is not going to go over well. Whether you're an elected leader or you're a dictator, that was not the promise to the people. It was, we the government can solve everything, so please let us do our jobs. Well, do the fucking job, right? And so the job is print the fucking money. That's what they're going to do.
Okay, so with this in mind, next 18 months or so, we get some kind of, I'm using the time frames loosely, but we get a massive, massive, massive print of money. Let's not talk magnitudes. The bigger
I've calculated magnitudes. I did this research this week. So the magnitudes, I think that we're on par for 1 to 2 times how much money we printed during COVID.
What?
Right? So yes.
1 to 2 times what we printed during COVID, which was, that was unprecedented. That was unprecedented money printing. I don't remember the stats, but
that's my base case.
50% of all, was it 50% of all dollars that were printed in like the last 3 years or something like that? And you're saying that it's going to be 1 to 2 times that?
Yes. In total, globally, between the Fed, the ECB, the BOJ, and the PBOC.
Oh, wow. Okay. And then, so we have the biggest party of our lives. It makes COVID party look like it was nothing.
Yeah, because we're outside of our homes. We can actually go out and do shit, right? It's going to be fun.
Actually go and buy Louis Vuittons. We can do whatever we want to do, and we can drive share prices up and the markets rally and whatever else. Okay, now what happens after that? And the reason why I asked that is because in all the bullishness where I was searching for you, I then saw people will lose everything. And I was like, hold on a second. Who's not reading this right? So biggest bull run ever, Arthur's all in, people will lose everything. So I guess that means party, hangover.
Yeah, exactly. Right. We have everybody's printing all this money. We're debasing the currency. We're perverting the time value of money, the most important relationship in a civilized society. And that's going to lead to social unrest, because people are like, well, I didn't get to drive the Lambo during the latest bull run. My ass was fucking working 3 jobs, couldn't make ends meet. Fuck you. Right. And that's going to bubble to the surface. And it's going to be a very caustic cocktail, because everybody in the world, the people who don't have as much, are sitting there like, what the fuck? Like, I don't have financial assets. I'm not fucking partying at the club. I'm trying to work all this overtime just to feed my kids. And so seeing this party that's going to happen over the next 3 years is going to engender the seeds of revolution afterwards. I don't know how that's going to play out, but you can't print this much money and have a very select few people do so well while the rest of the population sits in misery, working their ass off, afraid that the AI robot's going to take their job, right? So you have all this going on at the same time, I think it's not going to be so good.
Double whammy. So you've got people losing their jobs, and then you've got AI coming in and taking those jobs, which means more people end up losing jobs. It becomes like a crazy scenario where I guess I agree with you. Social unrest is actually one of the things. I assume that your thesis is that through all this, the best thing to own is the world's most finite asset, which is Bitcoin, right?
Well, it depends on what price you bought Bitcoin at, right? If you bought Bitcoin at 28,000, it goes to 750. You sell it for that amount, sell it for 750,000, and you go and buy some farmland or some productive asset or whatever. Great on you. If you're the Muppet who bought at 750,000 when the party ends, probably not so good. So it's all path dependent. So I'm talking about people today. Fast forward 3 years, I might not be so bullish on the fact that Bitcoin is the best thing to own for that particular starting point. Yes, it's going to be useful and all those sorts of things, but you can't be so dogmatic because the situation might warrant that. Okay, well, Bitcoin is just a currency. I actually need something, whether that's food or a place to live or whatever. Use those, undeserved fiat earnings that you've experienced over the past few years to buy something that's useful for you and your family to get you through the hard times.
You say for those people who buy now, 27, 28, you should be safe. How much time have we got to buy Bitcoin? Is it like a month? Is it like a year?
I don't think Bitcoin's going to pass 70,000 until end of next year. So it's going to be choppy. It's not going to be a straight line up, but the euphoria when this narrative actually catches on, if it actually catches on, is going to be swift and sharp. And you're going to feel like a Muppet if you've got to buy at charts going like this versus when the chart was going like that.
Because let's go through a chart here. This is a fractal chart of the halving fractals. It kind of says that on the 15th of April next year, we should break this trend line-ish, more or less. I mean, again, this is just using halving fractals. Then it's usually like a slow and steady chop, and then kind of like a huge acceleration somewhere around here. And they're saying that we'd probably peak 518 to 546 days after the halving, which is a year and a half after the halving, which is probably just towards the end of 2025. Like, how does this go with your thesis?
It's very complementary, right? Because I'm looking at a debt cycle where I'm saying the U.S., which leads the world in terms of fiat money printing, largest economy, reserve currency, all that kind of stuff, they will roll over like an average amount of their debt. The average maturity is 3 years-ish on U.S. Treasury debt. So there's about $7 trillion worth of debt that matures by the end of 2026. So there's a stock of stuff that needs to be printed to buy that debt, right? So I think that a end of 2025 into the 2026 timeframe sounds about right for the top of the cycle, because it's when all the debt's being monetized, create the party, and then we're like, okay, well, what the fuck do we do now, right? There's not going to be the need to print all this money because we've refinanced the debt out into the future. So that makes some sense.
Okay. And do you think that we get like the market go? We say choppy. Do you think that I guess you think we've seen the bottom. I guess you're saying we're not going to go back down to the 15,000s. I think when you say choppy, you mean hover around the 20s and 30s, right?
Yeah, could be.
99% of people watching the show right now are not in that position, right? And I think 99% of those people want to be in that position. Like, walk me through what you tell those people and saying, I want to be like Arther. That's what I want to be.
Become an expert in something, right? Is there something that you do that you've done minimum 10,000 hours of? Yeah. And whatever that is, it doesn't have to be investing. It could be a music producer, it could be a singer, whatever that is, become an expert. Because it wasn't that necessary in the past, but it definitely is going to be necessary when you have a open AI that can do pretty much everything a human can do better, faster, but they're just not going to be as creative. So we're going to value experts. We're not going to value the paper pushing mediocrity that sufficed for work for the past, industrialized 150 years. That's over. You need to be an expert in something. So have a passion about it, become an expert in it, work your ass off.
That wraps up an enlightening conversation with Arther Hayes. This is not financial advice. Please do your own research and keep learning about Bitcoin. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more insights and comment your thoughts below. Thanks for joining us on the Bitcoin Edge, and we'll see you in the next episode.